This is Defenders TV Podcast, episode 34. We're still talking Jessica Jones, this time episode 4, aka 99 Friends. Welcome back, Defenders. This is episode 34 of Defenders TV Podcast on Jessica Jones. We're talking aka 99 Friends. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
I'm one of your other hosts, John.
And I'm Chris, and I round out this trio of crazy Marvel fiends.
Welcome back, guys. We're on to episode 4 of Jessica Jones. How are you finding it, John?
Really good, yeah. I mean, this episode I thought definitely was slower. It definitely helped probably transfer events that occurred in the last episode through. There's obviously the big shock ending that we're going to talk about, something very close to home for Jessica. But in the main, I felt that this was setting up for sort of a new wave of events to begin and to start within the series. So. But it was still solid. I thought it was still good, and definitely something you have to kind of keep an eye on and watch out for, obviously, moving forward.
Yeah. Chris?
For me, this was very much the episode that I was afraid to have. Okay. It was the trough of an ever-growing peak of 3 episodes to date. It looks like it is very much following the Daredevil styled kind of episode sequence where we get 2 to 3 which are, oh my god, action filled, wow. And then you have an episode I'm calling filler, but it's not.
Right.
It's character progression, it's development, it's the lengthening, going deeper into different story arcs. So it's still a great episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't fault it. It just wasn't like the other 3 hours worth of content that we've seen so far, in that it had moments, just not to the same peak, to the same action orientated, be it emotionally charged. It just didn't have those.
Yeah, absolutely.
It had some scenes, but not moments.
Right. There was no big barroom fight scene. There was no attack on Kilgrave's apartment this time. Yeah, a lot more scenes, a lot more character moments in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Kilgrave has kind of melted back into the ether. There's certainly, I think, the way we're looking at it, it's always relative. It's kind of, you're comparing it to the previous one as well as internally within that episode to say, is it just generally a good episode or a great episode? And then you're comparing it to what has gone before. Yeah. And so, as I say, I still think this is a good, solid episode. It's just that obviously you have 3 before it, which I certainly thought were really standout. And this is still good.
Yeah.
But it's a relative form of good, next to the other 3 that have gone so far. And again, it's a slower pace. It's looking at character development of ideas, and that just takes a bit more time to really then give and pack that emotional punch maybe at a later date. But we still get one here.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Well, listeners, thanks very much again for joining us. Really good to have you come in. If you joined us from flickeringmyth.com, thanks very much. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on defenderstvpodcast.com/iTunes, where you can subscribe to us through any Apple device. If you're an Android person, you can go on and subscribe to us on Beyond Pod, Podcast Addicts, Stitcher. Just look for us under Defenders TV Podcast, and make sure you share your thoughts with us about the episodes as we go. All you need to do is just email us at feedback@defenderstvpodcast.com, or you can join us over on Facebook in our group or on our page. Those are, again, under defenderstvpodcast.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at DefendersCast. We're really enjoying the episodes and hope you are too. The way we cover our episodes here is that we talk about our top 5 points, or the 5 points that stood out to us about the episodes, and then we decide whether we defend it or not, depending on our thoughts overall. We always start out our episodes with a synopsis. This episode, aka 99 Friends, was written by Hilly Hicks Jr., great name.
Yeah.
And directed by David Patrica, who directed episode 3. So he gets 2 episodes to direct in a row, just like S.J. Clarkson got for the first 2. So I'm wondering if that's kind of a pattern that directors get a couple of episodes in a block to direct. Could be kind of interesting. John, do you want to tell us what we got in this episode?
Jessica becomes racked with paranoia as she tries to uncover the people or person who took all of those photographs. She suspects that everyone and anyone could be under the influence of Kilgrave as he melts away into the background. A new case sent to Jessica from the office of Hogarth, Chow and Denowitz immediately raises alarm bells. But as she investigates further, her new client Audrey and her cheating husband have a very different agenda. In the meantime, Trish begins to recover and move on from her ordeal, apologising to Kilgrave live on air, and also forming an unexpected bond with her assailant, the police officer Will Simpson. The events at Trish Talk also yields unforeseen results as people come forward claiming that they too have been controlled and manipulated by Kilgrave. A cold and calculated Jeri Hogarth, though, establishes Jessica's therapy, a Kilgrave survivors group. The first meeting of the group throws up a lead as to the identity of the photographer that leads Jessica to a known associate close to home.
Yeah, so lots going on in that episode. I want to take, my point is actually in your synopsis there. My first point is about Officer Simpson's return. We saw him get saved in the last episode by Jessica when he was being forced to jump off the building by Kilgrave. He was left not understanding the situation. He felt he'd killed Trish. He didn't understand why he was still alive, didn't understand why Jessica saved him, and doesn't understand why Trish is still alive. So this return is really interesting. I like the build on this character. He tells Trish that he's the kind of person that is always trying to save people, and what Kilgrave has done to him in turning him into one of his weapons is really at odds with his personality. I really like how this character is being played by Will Travel is the actor's name. We saw him at the New York Comic Con panel when we were over, and he couldn't talk anything about this character at all other than to say he's a New York cop. So I knew he was going to be a bigger character than we saw in the last episode, but I didn't realize how important he was going to become or how integral he's going to become. I really like the part, and I really like the role here, I must say. Really interesting that he's going back around to her house to make sure that Jessica wasn't lying to him, to see if he could find Trish's body on the floor, essentially. Brings another cop along with him, and it shows you how tough Trish's door is, doesn't it? He's got a full battering ram and doesn't even make a dent in the door, which is quite interesting. But yeah, he just seems almost paralyzed by the fact that Kilgrave has done this to him, which is interesting. Again, another really deep toll being taken on a character that's been controlled by Kilgrave, and we see a lot of that in this episode.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's used to being the authority figure, being a cop, and that was taken away from him. That control, that maybe power in itself.
Yeah.
And that he's trying to deal with. I think as well, he creates quite a lot of tension, or he did for me within this episode. I mean, to begin with, where he's hammering down the door, you are there going, is he back to kill her?
Yeah.
She's phoning up Jessica, or is he there for some other reason, which you can't really think of at the time until it's maybe, he wants to get some answers.
Yeah.
But then again,
it's like as if he's coming back to finish her off.
Exactly. Yeah. But that then, I think, stayed with me for the rest of the episode. So even later on, when he comes by himself out of uniform with the package, which ends up being a gun that he passes to Trisha, you're kind of there going, is he doing this for his own sake, or is he still under the control of Kilgrave? I mean, it is one of those things that is absolutely brilliant about this main antagonist, Kilgrave, is that, like Jessica in this episode, who's questioning everyone in terms of their motives, are they real, are they under the influence of Kilgrave, you as an audience member are there going, is this actually the cop, or is it Kilgrave?
Yeah.
All the time, you kind of come into Jessica's world there, and that is one of the great things about this episode. I think is how that pans out, especially with the cop Will Simpson.
Yeah.
And as I say, I'm there when she opens the door and lets him in, and they're sat at the table. I was there thinking, is something going to happen here? Because from the trailer, he is the guy, from what I can see, dressed with the leather coat and the blonde hair. It seems to be he's the one with all the fire behind him. So maybe he's kind of like this deep Kilgrave agent.
Maybe.
Why is he giving her a gun? It is to protect, but could it be for something else?
Yeah.
If Kilgrave manages to get control of Trisha.
Yeah.
So all these things are still fairly up in the air for me, but that to me brought some of the greatest amount of tension in this episode. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I like that Trish keeps her hand on the gun while he's sitting at the table with her. Again, we've always said she's smart. She's definitely smart in this episode. But one of the other good things that comes from his character is, again, because of the invasiveness of what Kilgrave has done to him, I like his conversation with Jessica where he's saying, what can we do to take Kilgrave down? He's now joined Team Jones. He's basically saying that he's going to be totally involved in taking down Kilgrave, which is really cool. He's saying he'll break the law. He's giving her an untraceable gun, which is illegal to do. He's saying that he's going to give Jessica all the video camera footage from across the city, whatever she needs, whether it's legal or illegal. He'll do it to take down Kilgrave. So he's now a man of single focus to get back the life that Kilgrave stole from him, essentially.
Yeah, but it's this whole thing of, is it the truth or is it a subterfuge?
Yeah.
All of this. He could be given, an unlicensed gun because then it doesn't trace back to him or Kilgrave. Is he helping Jessica to lay sort of seeds of doubt or a false trail? I mean, and that has potentially huge implications for the person who supposedly is being revealed as the person giving the photographs to Kilgrave.
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting thing. But all of this is potentially murky, which is amazing.
No, John is getting paranoid just like Jessica, I think.
But I think that's the key. That's that we're meant to question everyone. It's Jeri's affair was out of her character according to her ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a Kilgrave motive? Like, is it so that Jeri can employ Jessica more,
right,
and get deeper in with Jessica? Like, if maybe she thought Kilgrave thought Jessica was a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're meant to question every part and decision aside from Jessica's.
Yeah,
is Luke a part of it? He doesn't know the thing. Unless someone uses the kind of word like limey bastard, obviously being slang for a UK person.
Yeah.
I think then we're open to speculation, is that everyone could, hell, Patsy could be.
Yeah. Maybe.
Like, Trish could be, like a triple threat, a sleeper agent, like, put in with Jessica. Like, and I think that's the part I'm enjoying, which is I'm not trusting anyone bar Jessica.
Right. And
hell, all we know, Jessica could still be under control as well.
Wow.
In certain aspects of it.
Aye.
Absolutely. And I think, like, it kind of comes on to one of my first points, and it's a counterpoint to that. I did have Trish and Will as one of my points as well, but in a counterpoint with Audrey Eastman, who comes to Jessica as a client, again to go after her cheating husband, Andre. You're there, and as Jessica is thinking, is this someone sent by Kilgrave?
Yeah.
No, it's sent by Hogarth's office, but Jessica checks that lead out. Who is the guy that sent this lady to her? Is he okay? And you find out that he's actually one of the partners in the group and that he's dealing with Hogarth's divorce.
Yeah.
But that ultimately becomes a red herring and a very different motivation as to why she has gone to Alias Investigations to get Jessica on board.
Yeah, and in the split moment before it was revealed what Eastman's plan was, right? Go with me on this one. I, for some reason, thought that her husband Andre was sleeping possibly with Jeri's wife, and that's why, since that particular associate in the law firm was dealing with the divorce, and she'd been sending Jessica to try and take photographs of her dirty secrets, essentially. I thought what was going to be the reveal was that Andre was sleeping with Jeri's wife. And I thought that's what was going to be it. And then the door opens and it's something completely different. I was taken completely aback by it.
Absolutely. And Jeri had actually asked Jessica to get some dirt on her own ex-wife. So, but this, threw up a different issue and a different thing entirely. But again, it was another red herring.
Yeah.
So there's red herrings all being thrown here. And I mean, in this case, this is one where it all again links back to, the Avengers, the first Avengers movie,
Absolutely.
and the destruction of New York. Which again, I like to see that connection here between the TV universe and then obviously the cinematic universe, the MCU.
Yeah.
So that's really good, I think.
Yeah, and for me, it could actually, again, great Avengers way, segue, into one of my first points, which was this whole discussion on the incident, on obviously being the attack on New York City, and Avengers the film, or Avengers Assemble, depending on what country you're in.
Yeah. Or Marvel's Avengers Assemble, as we have to call it.
Yes, that too. And the mention of the green guy, the flag guy, or the man in the flag and the green guy.
I love that.
They're not my friends. Coming fantastically. And now I'm starting to see why they're using the word gifted. Mm-hmm. Because the flip side of that was freaks.
Yeah.
So it's throwing up this dichotomy between, okay, they are powered, but people, I think we discussed it briefly before, was that the collateral damage is the normal man to all this.
Yeah.
So everything, so in Sarkovia, in Ultron, that was a whole city lifted. We still don't know what happened to all those people.
Yeah.
The bases that get consistently blown up, the schools that get blown up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Daredevil's factories blowing up, and the city on fire that we saw, or the borough on fire. Like, there's people getting hurt in the background,
Absolutely.
and then there's people like Audrey and Andre who are talking about this, that they don't love heroes.
Yeah.
They think they're a menace. They're freaks. They are the people that are destroying their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And I think we mentioned it in one of our previous 3 episodes where if the timeline is going the same, people are still not used to superheroes.
Absolutely.
Like, we get mentions of the green guy, the flag guy, the guy with the hammer.
Yeah.
Like, and that's great. But people aren't used to Kilgrave's powers. They haven't seen this before.
Yeah.
They're not used to a woman who can jump a building, who can take a bullet. Obviously, she can't, but that was like, it was good. That was a nice one. See, she's bleeding. Right. But then a man with unbreakable skin. Like these gifted people are new. And I think one of the fun part we're seeing in this show is that when the devil made me do it, or Kilgrave made me do it, you sound like you're special.
Yeah.
Retarded, as Audrey says.
Yeah.
That took me. I was like, ooh, okay, again, this is a Max series kind of thing. They're saying things that you wouldn't say in public.
Absolutely.
But then I think it's just a really good kind of side issue that's going on in the environment of this show, where people are not used to gifted people. They are freaks in their eyes. You are not human.
Yeah, I think there's a great lesson that the Marvel writers have taken from DC, actually. They've taken it from Man of Steel, I feel. The whole controversy around Superman fighting over Metropolis and destroying that city, and what happens to the regular people when a huge battle happens over a city. It seems like the Marvel writers have kind of taken that and gone, okay, we're going to use this for the Netflix shows, particularly for Daredevil, for Jessica Jones now, where in Daredevil, essentially what created all the bad guys in the city, the Kingpin, all the other characters, was that they were rebuilding the city and taking all those contracts and taking all that money from the destruction caused by the Chitauri. And in this episode of Jessica Jones, we see that Eastman has been created as a villain to kill Jessica because she's one of these special people. She's one of the powered people that she can get to, essentially. Thought that was quite interesting. I love the connection of how she found out how Jessica was special is because she works with the wife of the guy that she served the summons to in the first episode, and he talks a lot. So I love that little connection where that's how she found out that Jessica's powered.
That slipped by me. I was about to go, how did you know? Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that she does actually directly say it.
Yeah.
And I think, like, one of the other good things about this tension between, everyday people like the Eastmans and then, the superheroes like Jessica Jones who's getting embroiled in this is that, this is a tension between them. There are collateral damage for New York being like leveled to an extent by the Chitauri or by whatever other menace is happening. And hopefully this, builds up the tension as to why then politicians are going to want to have the Superhero Registration Act. And that leads all to the Civil War element. This tension between what the superheroes feel that they can just simply go and do and what the ordinary public feel is, yes, they saved us, but at what cost in that sense? My mum, as Audrey Eastman says, was in that apartment, in that building that you leveled in order to stop a Shatari. Yes, that's great, but there's that personal element to it, and that leads ultimately to registering superheroes and the tension between the Avengers. So that's, I think, a really nice little way of introducing those kind of movements towards the Civil War movie next year.
Yeah.
I think as well, I absolutely love Jessica's retort to Audrey Eastman, which is like, I lost my parents. Do I work my personal shit out in public, with other people, or do I just deal with it myself?
Yeah.
And it is that then is the other angle to this, is that, to what extent should Audrey go around and start shooting Jessica simply because of something that she actually didn't do?
Yeah.
But it's connected.
And Eastman knows she wasn't actually involved in either.
Yeah. But it is simply connected by the fact that she is a superhero. That can be that can be a metaphor for any other type of person who doesn't get involved in something, but ultimately is of the same ilk and gets blamed or gets apportioned that blame despite never being involved in it. So it's really topical, and it's a really important thing that ultimately builds, I would suspect, to the Civil War movie.
Yeah,
no, and I'm curious to see, was this their first attempt? Is there a body bag or two lying there somewhere?
Interesting.
So will we find out that Audrey killed a number of others? Will we find out that she's not working alone, that there is a secret movement of daily day folks, the noobs, the norms, the non-freaks, the non-gifted, who are hunting the freaks and the gifted as a very much that kind of...
Almost becomes like a vampire type thing.
Yeah, no, really. And like it is that it's almost... I was going to go more...
The villagers going out to bring in the vampire, the witches. Let's ducking stools. Let's drown them. They can do stuff that we can't. Right. Kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's leading to that general frenzy of fear and tension. And that's what I think Civil War is all about, and the breakup of the Avengers, and it's all coming from that. Look, this person can turn green, go mental, and like destroy everything if they want to.
Yeah.
In the Hulk, that you wouldn't allow that to run around in any normal society.
Absolutely, you're totally right, and no huge spoilers for Civil War, but the way it starts is with the Stamford incident, which is an incident that happens when a school is leveled by one of these heroes. Who's
a town.
School kids are all killed in a town in Stamford.
Yeah.
Essentially by one of the heroes trying to do his day-to-day job. And yeah, you're right. The villagers and the people of America rise up against all the superheroes. So I've been actually thinking, going into Civil War and going into the next Avengers movies, what's going to be the big incident? But that incident's possibly already happened, and it is the incident in New York. And now the people of New York are rising against the superpowered characters. Yeah, really good, interesting.
And I'm wondering if Speedball might be introduced.
Maybe.
Because this is the first. Will we have Daredevil season 2 before Civil War? I'm not quite sure.
It's very close on the timing.
Yeah. So possibly we'll get Speedball, who is the perpetrator, or the one who turns into Ruin? Not Ruin. He later becomes someone else. Based on it's great. It's a great story arc for the new. It wasn't the New Warriors. It was the
New Warriors.
It was the New Warriors. Yeah. But again, you can see all that play out quite easily in this Netflix-esque style.
Yeah.
And then it just leads, they just need to then take plug. And I think as we discussed before, I want them to take characters out of the Netflix universe.
Yeah.
Put them into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but more importantly, the films. I'd love to see the films guys cross in, but again, that's paycheck possible.
Yeah.
That just may not happen. But it's quite easy to take an unknown, like the character of Speedball, put him in Netflix, give him a bit of a backstory, people are aware who he is, and then make him gifted, put him in the opening scene of Civil War.
Yeah.
There it is.
So that's what I mean. That's what I'm really liking John's point, because I think this could possibly mean that the incident that causes superhuman registration has already happened. It doesn't have to be the opening scene of the movie like it was the opening scene of the Civil War comics with Speedball. You actually don't need to create Speedball if this theory is correct. We've already had the incident in New York, and that'll be enough to propel these people into doing superhuman registration, which I think is quite an interesting idea.
I think you'd need more of another catalyst.
Maybe.
I think they'll use the incident, Sokovia, and then something again, because Sokovia is outside of US soil, so they'll probably use that as the incident in New York, this threat from across the sea, and now this is the end of it. This is what we need to do, and you'll have Cap as the Patriot versus Iron Man, the lackey.
Yeah.
Or they'll flip those. Who knows?
Yep, very interesting idea. I think it's on to my next point.
Yep.
Which is slightly connected to Eastman, and it's the realization moment from Jessica. In the first episode of the show, we saw her telling us what her job was. Essentially, she had the voiceover saying that she's a PI that basically follows scumbags and takes photographs of them. The realization that Jessica comes to in this episode is that job is a horrible job, no matter how scummy the other person is, because she's just realized that Kilgrave has been following her with cameras all the time. She thinks that Eastman's been sent again to follow her and make her go and take photographs of her husband having sex with somebody else, essentially. So I like this realization. Even over just this small arc of episodes, Jessica's already realizing that she kind of put herself into this crappy, horrible jobs that she's dealing with the scum of society in New York. Just think it's a really interesting realization to have already for the character.
And I think that leads into where Jeri then asks Jessica to pull dirt up on her wife.
Yeah.
And it was like, and she was like, oh, again, I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember the exact line. I should have wrote it down. In that Jessica's like, she doesn't have dirt. She knows all about your dirt.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who hides things really well. Yeah, you do. You are. You're a lawyer.
Yeah.
You're scum.
Yeah.
And then Jessica kind of goes, I now have to go dig up dirt on a nice person.
Yeah.
Although this person didn't give her the prescribed medication. So I'd say go crazy, Jessica.
Yeah, but it is interesting that Jessica's starting to develop these connections with all the characters around her, and she's starting to feel, hold on a second, maybe my job isn't the nicest job in the world. If one of my friends asked me to investigate another one of my friends or another person I know, that's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, and she calls Jeri out as being, sneaky.
Yeah.
Just because you're sneaky, it doesn't mean that she is. And I mean, actually,
that was the line.
This is one of my kind of points is we really do see ice cold Hogarth here.
Yeah.
Jeri Hogarth here is quite frankly a cold-hearted, bitch, really.
Biatch, I believe is pronounced.
I even think, she wants Jessica to follow her ex-wife. She's taking her PA to the restaurant where she proposed to her ex-wife and bumps into her ex-wife out there. And I mean, even her PA begins to kind of maybe a little spark emerges there to realize, look, it isn't appropriate to bring me here. And she begins to see maybe that, she is a bit cold. You have her with all the interviews, checking out all the stories about the Kilgrave connection, where she kind of goes, well, actually, I wouldn't mind his gifts being on my side. This idea that his skills and abilities would be really useful for someone like me.
They would in a rotten law firm, wouldn't they?
But that's it. Like, she's really beginning to kind of show this rotten core, that he would be useful. And I mean, Jessica quite rightly goes pretty crazy and flips out at her, saying, what are you saying? Do you realize these are people that can be hurt?
Yeah.
It's this idea that, she is viewing people as just legal cases, left, right, and center. This idea of an objective legal case without any kind of warmth or any kind of subjectivity. And this was one of the big things that really just flew out at me from this episode, was just how low Jeri Hogarth, how cold she had become.
Yeah.
Really, really significant. I mean, I do like the Kilgrave survivors group. I thought this idea that, here you go, Jessica, here's your therapy group. I thought that was really, really funny how it did that. And also, I think when Jessica comes in to see Hogarth and to check, has this lady, Audrey Eastman, been sent here by your firm, or is this just a ruse? I think she says something, she goes, I couldn't hear you over that print, and she's referring to the PA's shirt, the flowery shirt. It is really acid response from Jessica. Who this girl? It's a really good sort of additional bit of sarcasm from Jessica around the associations that Jeri has, which is her PA. It was really, really good.
Absolutely. And again, another great little moment. You mentioned the scene of it at the restaurant. The PA's heart just breaks in that moment when she's essentially being told that Jeri's not going to give up the restaurant to her former wife. Just because that's where she proposed. She should know that that's not something you do to bring your next partner to the same restaurant that you're in. It's relationship 101. But Jeri's not a human relationships type of person. She's a cold-hearted bitch, as you said.
Biatch.
Sorry.
Come on.
Sorry, Chris. A cold-hearted biatch.
There you go.
Correct.
No, and I think, but I'm actually enjoying Jeri's character. I'm
Absolutely.
on the complete flip side.
Yeah.
But I'm loving the fact we got the nicey nice lawyers in Daredevil, in our Avocados at Law. This is the flip.
Yep.
We were given a taste of it in Foggy's and Matt's old law firm. But this is what you would expect a lawyer to be like. Human emotion. Meh. I don't side with losers. We have an emotional connection in a place. Yep. It's a place. It's not a thing. I quite enjoy that. That cold-heartedness, that like how low are they going to take this person? And I'm hoping they go all the way down, as we discussed, I think, in episode 2.
Listeners, we're going to take a pulse. Using it. Yes, no, he
I am
alive.
I am. I associate. But I think this is where we're going to see. Remember we said, how is this Jeri going to work into Iron Fist if it is the same Jeri?
Yeah.
We are watching the complete destruction of someone.
Yeah.
And I love it.
No, I do. I think she's an amazing character, and I can't really wait to see her fail hugely. And I'm sure that is what is being set up here, is that she comes across as no one matters. I don't need to maintain these personal relationships. And in fact, if I dump them, then, well, I will just I'll just run through the same sequence of events, take her to this restaurant, maybe propose to her in this. It doesn't matter. Yeah. This is really, just, as you say, kind of a procedural thing for her.
Yeah.
But it is good to see that side of someone in this show, and to just see her, I presume, something bad will happen, or she will fall from grace and have a, road to Damascus moment where she realizes that she's been an absolute biatch, and maybe will become the more caring Jeri Hogarth, CEO of Rand Corporation.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking Kilgrave. I'm thinking that's what this is set up as.
Really?
They will bring her to the brink where you don't care that Kilgrave's using her, and then Kilgrave will make her do something that is so morally ambiguous. And now we'll find out that, and everyone, Jessica...
Worse than being a lawyer?
I think so. I think so. Sorry, all lawyers out there. Sorry. We value your work. Please don't sue us. No, I think what we'll find out then, everyone will assume that Kilgrave had made her do all these things, and it'll turn out, no, Kilgrave got to her just at the end, made her do that last thing, and then that's what will make her look back and go, oh my God, what have I become?
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. There's definitely a disregard for the people who are victims of Kilgrave. She definitely doesn't agree that they should be whining and moaning the way they are. Basically, that's completely unheard of for her. It's whatever happened to you today, get over it tomorrow and get on with your life is her attitude.
Yeah, I mean, she's completely dubious. I love her line where she goes, Kilgrave has just become this city's biggest excuse.
Yeah.
As all these people are coming in to tell their tale as to how Kilgrave manipulated them to do, I don't know, shoplifting or whatever it might be.
Sleeping with the really hot man with no shirt.
Oh, that is brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my points, was really about the group and the things that are brought to her. I love that the actual incidents of Kilgrave are so not normal, but they're not as dramatic as the ones that people are using Kilgrave as an excuse for. There's a woman that's saying that was just made to play the cello until her fingers bled. Another woman that was that says that she was made to smile constantly, and another guy that's saying that he had his leather jacket stolen by Kilgrave. Those are the three incidents that are actually involving Kilgrave. The ones that aren't is a girl who's been knocked up by the gardener, who sleeps with everybody in the area. So her mother just assumes, well, this must be Kilgrave. It's not that he's a hot guy who leaves his shirt off all the time. There's the other guy that says that he's been made hold up a petrol station, I think it is, or a 7-Eleven, essentially, with a gun by some guy with glowing eyes, clearly drug addict, who's saying that there's someone in control. And then, some random guy who just thinks he met a person called Kilgrave who controlled his mind. But I like that the three incidents are, they're again really invasive, as I've said before in previous episodes. If Kilgrave gets into your head at all and tells you to do something that you don't want to do and makes you want it, regardless of how small that thing is to you, it must be really invasive, and you do have a really bad feeling afterwards. Whereas all the rest of the people are just kind of use it as an excuse. But I think it's a great moment. It's one of my other points.
Chris, what's your next point?
I want to talk about the Easter eggs that we got in this episode, because it was a bit more Easter egg filled. It was almost like an Easter egg basket.
Right.
Although it's not April, May, March.
Chocolate.
Whenever Easter happens.
So you were talking about the Kilgrave scene.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one I want to bring up was he landed and emerged from a meteor.
Right. So one of the descriptions.
One of the descriptions from the guys who thought this was Kilgrave. So that stinks to me of some kind of Easter egg of someone.
Right.
I just can't put my finger on it.
Okay.
So an alien emerging from a meteor. I'm thinking Hyperion. It was just a joke. Mm-hmm. Hyperion was Squadron Supreme. He was again in the Max characters as the Supreme Power series that was run.
Right.
He is the Marvel's answer to Superman. Mm-hmm. He's an alien from another world that lands on Earth, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I thought it was quite fun.
All right. Could have been Howard the Duck.
Could have been Howard the Duck, but I think
I hope not.
I love that character, and I love that film.
Oh my god.
Answers on the back of postcards. Chris was right, or John was right. Just let us know.
No, that's fine. I just...
Seth Green.
The worst part about Guardians of the Galaxy for me was seeing Howard the Duck.
But that was just the fun part of it. And Seth Green does the voice, and he is now the voice of Howard the Duck.
I don't care.
I do. I love it.
So, listeners, hashtag John was right, hashtag Chris was right on Defenders Cast on Twitter.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know who the person who landed from the meteor could possibly be, but Hyperion's an interesting choice. That's a bit out there.
Yeah. Second one, he walked out of the sea. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's not Aquaman. But actually, now saying all this could be just a jab at DC. Maybe. It could be a jab at Superman and Aquaman, awesome. But most likely he walked out of the sea. I'm thinking Submariner, no more.
Yeah.
They haven't introduced, although, again, I don't know where the rights lie. Is that a Fox thing? Is it not a Fox thing? Is it actually a mutant? Is it Fantastic Four?
There's some weird rights on that one, actually, because I remember them. It was that Submariner was brought as a character on his own, separately from all of the other characters, and has never been used. So I think it actually is in Fox, but not connected to X-Men, not connected to Spider-Man, not connected to Fantastic Four. Namor, for some reason, was the first character, I believe, that Marvel sold. Okay. And nothing has ever happened for him. So he's languished on a shelf with nobody ever able to write a story about them. And now with DC doing Aquaman as a movie, do you think Submariner's going to get his time in the sun?
No, I don't, because news broke this week.
Or it's time underwater, actually.
Time underwater.
Time in the sun.
Well, it's not under the sun. He's a mutant, he can breathe. He has the little wings on his feet.
Yeah. He was turned into a mutant, wasn't he? He wasn't a mutant originally. But
no. Yeah. He turns out he was one of the first, along with Apocalypse and so forth.
Right.
I just think that those are two. Now, they could be just jokes put in by the writers, but I think there's something there. The one that I wanted to turn to our ever-loving Iron Fist fan, Red-Eyed Asian Man, which is, again, this is red-eyed, glowing red eyes, Asian man in a store. I couldn't place this one.
Yeah, so this is the kind of drunken drug addict that I mentioned, or drunken guy who holds up a store and says, there's an Asian guy in the store with glowing red eyes who told me what to do. Any ideas, John?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it is. The only person I could actually think of was Davos, the Steel Serpent, and potentially, I think, the adopted son of the Mother Crane. So maybe a Madame Gao reference. Now, Davos doesn't always necessarily have red eyes, so he doesn't in the Immortal Iron Fist, so it might not be him, but that's the only one I could really think of, and it linked in with the Steel Serpent imagery. It could have been something to do with that. This is, again, assuming the maybe an Iron Fist connection here. There is that, but one of the other things is that Hydra in the Immortal Iron Fist is involved.
Right.
So there are Hydra, and of course all the goons have got the red eyes as well. And one of the lead Hydra men there is an Asian guy who is trying to find the magical city of Kunlun.
Right.
So it could deal with that element as well. Maybe it could be a Hydra goon who's involved with Davos,
maybe
rather than necessarily than Davos. It could be some of that, but we'll just have to see. But I think it is a bit of a leap of faith.
Yeah, and I think these are definitely just fun references for us. I don't think they're not like having the Steel Serpent symbol in Daredevil. These references in the tales of who could possibly be Kilgrave and who isn't, I think a lot of them are lies, and a lot of them are excuses that's kind of set up beforehand. But I do like that they may have used some Marvel characters.
I'm hoping one will turn out to be
something
real,
completely different,
and not a lie, and that's just why I wanted to bring it up. The final one is our ever-loving Trish. So we got two pieces of more information, and I think you guys are going to discuss her more later in the situation. So she used to have dolls made of her. So again, leading to the comic book. So this is Patsy, who had a comic book all about her as a kid, had dolls, the whole shebang. Her mother made the dolls, and then she talked about the red hair. So the red hair on the doll and made out of sequins, as you said, and the red hair look like Cabbage Patch doll, I think she said.
Look at Carrot Top.
Carrot Top, that was
comedian,
it. The comedian. Hellcat has flowing locks of red hair.
Right.
Now our Trish is now blonde. Maybe she is actually secretly a redhead, or she dons as an actress as a child. She donned. A red wig,
maybe,
and that's where she then puts on her secret identity. By changing your hair color, you look like a completely different person.
Absolutely.
If it works for Clark Kent with some glasses, who knows?
Just look at Arrow. That seems to happen with all the female characters. Just stick on a wig and it's fine. You're a completely different person.
Oh no! But also like by wearing a hood, standing slightly in the dark, and using a voice modulator. I'm never gonna know you're Oliver Queen. So one thing that gets me, I have to suspend my disbelief. It's like, so you're wearing a ceramic mask. You've got a hood up just slightly, so it just darkens your forehead. Oh, no, I'd never know who you are. Also, the fact you came home the exact same time Oliver Queen came back. No.
In the age of high-tech weaponry, you go medieval.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
But, our listeners wouldn't know us if we use voice modulation, so maybe there's something in that.
Okay.
But it does show why Marvel TV shows are generally better than the DC shows.
Oh, Flash, I'm sorry. We will discuss at another point.
Maybe.
And also now with Patsy, I've just got Ab Fab in my head as well. So now I've got this idea that she smokes a cigarette and is like always looking for Bolly, a bottle of champagne.
Give me some Bolly.
That's absolutely fabulous for our American audience who might not know what John's referring to there.
And before we kind of close up this point, I just want to ask again our listeners that if I've missed something in any of these Easter eggs, I am an egg hunter. I love this. So please don't forget, answer on the back of the postcard, comment on our Facebook page, send us in one of our spoiler-free or spoiler-filled posts within the group, or just tweet us directly at DefendersCast. Did I miss something, or have I pretty much caught it? And if you actually think you know who the guy who in the meteor who walked out of the sea, or this red-eyed Asian man are, again, just let us know, because this is starting to annoy me. Hopefully I might find out. Who knows? Yeah. We're only on episode 4.
John, what's your next point?
My next point is definitely the Midwich Cuckoo moment the episode. The really creepy sort of batshit moment, which is the kid delivering Jessica Jones a message.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is Children of the Corn, everyone's worst nightmare, freakazoid kid, not under their own control, talking like an adult. And then obviously just the way then it gets kind of implicated that Jessica somehow abducted the child. It is just, it's just one of those creepy moments that I absolutely love as a fan of horror and so on. I love seeing this kind of moment. There is nothing better than a creepy, slightly zoned out kid, preferably with golden eyes and blonde hair to really get the heartbeat racing. Yeah. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Classic.
Yeah, for me, this was one of my points as well, and this was my the holy shit moment that we're getting in every episode of some kind. Mm-hmm. This was it. This was the this is just wrong moment where everything else is okay. Yeah, no, fine. Again, Kilgrave is now going so low as to use a child, and based on Jessica's pure anger and confusion, this is a low moment for Kilgrave even.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he's using children now.
She's what, 8 years old as well?
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, he actually asks her and she says she's 8 years old as well.
8 3/4.
That's right.
Yeah, that's 3/4 matter.
Yeah, that is a really creepy scene. And the one thing that kind of gets me about it as well is that when Jessica tries asking the questions and is asking her where her mother's very close by. So when did Kilgrave get to this child as well is another really creepy thing. When was she out of sight of her mother long enough for Kilgrave to deliver all these messages about Trish is now safe? I liked her apology on air, but she's safe for now, kind of thing. When did Kilgrave get the time to give her all these messages when her mother wasn't looking? That's a really scary, creepy thing as well.
Or the mother's in on it.
Maybe. Yeah, interesting.
I think as well, it was just the fact that Jessica had her brown paper bag with the bottle of whiskey in it, and of course then holding on to the kid, it looks like some sort of crazy drunk trying to kidnap a kid a bit. The mother is close by, comes and says, "Get your hands off my child." Again, just really good moment of tension, and obviously the Midwich Cuckoo, the fab.
Yeah.
So Derek, what's your next point?
My next point is back to Trish. I really like, in the last episode, we talked about how strong she was as a character, and Jessica was finding out all about her and her self-defense and what she'd done to her in apartment. She has absolutely turned this apartment into a prison for herself. She looks like she has just trapped herself inside with just the intercom, which almost felt a little bit like Hannibal Lecter almost. Not that she's like Hannibal Lecter, but it felt as secured as Hannibal Lecter is in those films. That she's just completely behind this door. She's talking through a two-way intercom system. When Officer Simpson is trying to give her a present, she does the whole thing of you set it on the floor and step back to the other end of the hallway and I'll reach out and take it. It's very much like the only way she can communicate with the outside world now, because she's so scared, is to make everybody step away from her. I really like that change in the character in one episode, really. She was tough enough to stand up to him last time, and this time she wants to keep a big separation between them at the beginning of the episode, at least. Understandably, as we said earlier on. But I just like how much of a prison this place has become for her.
I think the prison's a very strong term for me. I would think, not because I've been there, people, just in terms of, I mean more of like, it's a safe house. That we saw that steel door was 100% secure. Mm-hmm. And it just needs to be that way. And I think, I don't know, the makeup was fantastic on the bruises on her neck.
Yeah.
When we saw that, I was like, okay, that's, because you could easily, didn't even need to show that.
Yeah.
We all inferred from the scarf and the choking that, okay, she'll have bruises. But no, and they looked like proper handprints, and mm-hmm. I was quite impressed. But I think more than that, I don't know, I think, again, the layers of character development we're getting in every episode, especially this one. This was the all characters were meant to be brought to the next level, to kind of the relationships are in the next level. So this relationship with Officer Simpson, mm-hmm. again, I just worry because every relationship so far in this TV show has imploded of some kind.
Yeah.
So this is, he may be still under Kilgrave's control. We know every 12 hours Kilgrave needs to be topped up.
Right.
So you need to get your Kilgrave fix.
If you've been away from him for that long,
Yeah,
he kind of lost his power over you. Yeah.
That was a really interesting sort of development, actually, which again is another kind of hint as to how maybe Jessica can get to him or the people he's gotten to. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Chris, what's your final point?
My final point, the name of the show, and just how I find this interesting. I have 99 friends, and also red balloons. No, it's just I have 99 friends in this borough alone.
Jessica ain't one.
Yeah. We discussed this, and I want to bring it up now. Okay, so the way I see this is, I have 99 friends. It most likely is a lie. Mm-hmm. I think this was a nice play on that. Actually, in Manhattan, in the comic books, Manhattan is pretty central to a lot of comic book heroes. Mm-hmm. You've got your Spider-Mans, your Iron Mans, the Avengers Mansion, you've got Daredevil, you got all the Hell Kitchen guys. I think this actually could be a play on, you're going to have, she probably is aware of like 99 potential gifted people, or she's heard rumors, 99 rumors. Or a lot of rumors. Yeah. Because you've got to imagine now that we're now seeing all these things, people are popping up. She probably goes there and reads the National Enquirer. Mm-hmm. Because if she knows she's gifted, she may not have met them. Yeah. And the friend part might be a lie. But I think it's a play on that we may get to see consistent. That's why I love the talk on the guy walking out of the sea and all. So you would think that Jessica, after knowing she's powered, she would track other people like her. She would keep an eye, and what I'd love to see is a wall of weird. Right. Kind of like, I forget what that TV show was from. Anyway, answers back at Carwood.
Or just email us.
Or just,
Nobody uses the postal service anymore.
They should.
Feedback at defenderstvpodcast.com. It'll cost you nothing. Pop them on.
The wall of weird. Where's that from? But yeah, no, I'd love to think that she is keeping an eye on it. Mm-hmm. Because you would assume that the whole point on Alias investigations was that she takes the cases no one else can. Yeah. So she would look for serial killers with superhero powers. Yeah. Or gifted powers. So like Kilgrave. She would look at a boy seen running and swinging around Manhattan. She would look into a guy with unbreakable skin. She would look into a guy who puts his fist through a wall and it's glowing. Yeah. You'll hear all these, or a guy dressed up as a devil kind of swinging from the rafters and who seems with the grace of a ninja. Right. Yeah. I think that was fun.
Absolutely. And there's a really good point that I noticed on this one. We talked about the timeline of Jessica Jones and where it could possibly take place. We know that it takes place after the Avengers incident in New York. We're wondering if it takes place after what's going on in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the moment, where the Terrigen Mists have created loads of new Inhumans, which could lead to these 99 new suddenly appearing superheroes in New York. Yeah. Which is an interesting little tie-in possibly with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So she may have heard, as you say, of a number of brand new superheroes that are appearing there. I definitely think the other part of it again is that this is absolutely a threat for Eastman. That's myself and 99 of my best friends are going to be round to your door tomorrow to beat the crap out of you if you don't get out of town. That's much more threatening than going, me and my boyfriend will be around tomorrow, despite the fact that her boyfriend has unbreakable skin.
Well, see, I think that's scary enough. Me and my 6 foot black, unbreakable, unhurtable boyfriend, while you also know I can jump tall buildings and I'm super strong. Yeah. No, that would scare me. Yeah. No, pretty much. I just thought it was nice. And I think, I'm starting to think that it is timeline-wise current up to where we are on Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. You would assume these guys talk, these writers talk.
Oh, sure.
They're going to share Easter eggs. They're going to share, you're going to have the ACU roaming around, the Terrigen Mists, people sprouting up with powers, based on the radio call in the last episode. Yeah. Yes, it's still kind of, people are like, okay, you're just blaming the devil. Devil made me do it. Kilgrave made me do it. Yeah. No, that's public perception. That's mass. But you still think people would be slowly coming round to this idea, especially if everyone saw the incident, the green guy and the flag guy, and there's people that they want to. They're targeting these gifted freaks.
Yeah, absolutely. John, what's your final point? I think you've got the last big one.
My final point is the big revelation. Coming out of this episode, that the episode finishes on, which is that Malcolm, the heroin addict down the corridor from Jessica's apartment, is the one that's been taking the photographs of her and meeting up with Kilgrave, presumably under Kilgrave's control, to deliver these photographs of Jessica, and has been following her. I suppose shocking. You see, Absolutely. Jessica go into his apartment, see a printer with one of those pictures. Jessica's kind of beginning to tear up because of this. And I suppose, this has all come about from the Kilgrave survivors group, where one of the guys who was forced to be his chauffeur for a week says that, they went like clockwork to meet with this one guy who had a blue and white scarf. Obviously an Everton supporter, to pick and pick things up from him. And so she goes back to the video footage, and there he is. He's there following her in one of the video camera shots. So there's two things here for me. One is that if he's following her, he is known to Jessica. He can't stay anonymous. So either it's because of that he could get close and take the pictures because she knew him and maybe she didn't see him with the camera, or it's that, maybe if she saw him that often, or if she caught a glimpse of him maybe several times, then maybe she could have made that leap and deduced that it was him as well. If she's gone through this footage, has she been seeing him all this time as she's gone through this footage? So, because she goes back to it and spots him. So I was a bit unclear maybe as to whether he really would have been able to hide like that from her because he's known to her. I just wondered about the mechanics of that. But nonetheless, it is possible.
There's 30 hours of footage that she's going through, and you definitely see that she's checked it, but I don't think she sat down for 30 hours going through it yet. I think that's kind of there when she's looking very specifically at the park moment. And she's pausing it and fast forward through it, looking for him as well. It's quite interesting. I think that's
what I mean. He's inconspicuous. He hides in the background because she knows him. She's not looking out for him. She's looking out for a stranger. It just doesn't draw her eye as such, maybe. But then I think the other thing is he a heroin addict because of Kilgrave? Is it that that means it drives him to become a drug addict so that he can deal with Kilgrave being constantly in his head. And that was the real sad thing there. And certainly when you put that in the context of the picture of him with his mum, that was a really sad moment, I think, for me. This idea that his heroin addiction is driven by Kilgrave's enslavement, I suppose, of his mind to do these things for him. That was actually the same final point that I had because it's such a big point in the episode, I think. But I had a slight twist on it. I think I understand your point, but I think mine is a slight twist on it. I'm wondering whether this is the cover that Kilgrave has pushed him to do. I'm wondering whether Kilgrave has gone, okay, now you're obsessed with heroin, so that he will be constantly looking the way he is, disheveled, meld into the background, will be ignored by everybody around him, and that's why he's getting close to Jessica. So his mission is to become a heroin addict and get close to Jessica all the time. So has he gone from being upstanding member of the community, seeming like looking very normal in that photograph, which seems to be only a couple of months beforehand, and now he's been pushed down the path? There's a moment in this episode where Jessica brings him into his apartment. He says, "Oh, you care?" And she says, "Well, of course I do. I don't want to be another reason for you to do heroin." And he says, "I don't need a reason. As in, I've been told this is what I must do." And the fact that he suspects her of not caring for him is again that piece of information that Kilgrave keeps passing on to everybody, that she's uncaring, she left him to die. So again, I wonder, is that the brainwashing that Kilgrave has given him? No, that's a really good kind of idea. But I suppose the other thing as well, from what Chris was saying, if you need to be topped up with Kilgrave's mind influence every 12 to 13 hours. Yes, he might also be told to meet him at a particular location every so often. But His room is just down the corridor from Jessica's. Presumably Kilgrave could conceivably have also gone into his apartment to top up those powers.
Maybe.
Like, it may not all have been separate or discrete from Jessica's apartment.
Well, the chauffeur does say it's 10 a.m. every single day, like clockwork, that they meet. So that's the 24 hours. Sorry. So maybe there's another time. You're right.
No, and I think the meth is another control mechanism.
Maybe, yeah.
I never thought of it your way. Yeah. It was more like every 12 hours you're under my control, you go looking for Jessica, and then at X time, I want you methed out of it so that you don't go and tell Jessica.
Yeah.
And is it 10 a.m. in the morning when Jessica is presumably still in bed with a whiskey hangover?
I'm really interested to see where they're going to go in episode 5. Is Jessica going to now play dumb, play that she doesn't know, and use this? Or is she going to call him out?
Yeah.
Like, that tear looked real.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she is hurt by this, but now is she, based on this destructive path that she is used to, where she segregates everyone, is she going to use him again?
Yeah.
Is she just going to go, okay, now I know you're a Kilgrave informant. I'm going to feed you false information. I'm going to let you follow me to weird places.
Yeah.
And make sure you think I'm where I am. And then, actually, or is she going to call him out and put him against the wall with one-handed and then throw him out the window?
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting, I think, definitely.
So I think that's the final points on the episode. Any notes from anybody about this episode, or did we cover everything off?
Yeah, I've got a few notes, a couple. On Whiskey Watch, we have Maker's Mark making an appearance, and we also have Heaven Hills. I don't know that particular brand, but there's 2 additional
I promise we'll get you some shots.
I definitely think that the reason why Heaven Hills, because I was being drunk very soon after the Midwich Cuckoo child was involved. So yeah, a
stronger,
stiff drink there definitely required. And then the other great one was that police officer Simpson also likes G.I. Joe, which is
But they ended up
brilliant.
in a fire.
Yeah.
They all died in
true.
a fire, saving Barbie.
Yeah, it looks like Cobra, got their way.
But don't you think Simpson is the guy in the trailer?
Yes.
So, but in front of a building on fire?
Yes.
Oh,
that's true. Oh, connection.
Interesting.
Live
spoilers from a trailer. Interesting.
Yeah, because maybe he becomes the G.I. Joe is standing in front of the burning building, and maybe Barbie is Patsy and Patsy's in the building.
Interesting.
Oh, so it's like therapy with dolls. Oh, yeah, okay.
And then lived out. Oh.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So they were my 2 notes. Yeah.
Interesting. And some interesting points for future watchings of episodes. So, Chris, do you defend this episode of Jessica Jones?
Oh, you're putting me in a tough spot. I'm going to have to actually say no.
Okay.
I'm going to be the elephant in the room. I don't know why it's an elephant in a room. I know I'm big, but I'm not that big. Thank you. No.
You could be the whiskey bottle.
I'm the whiskey bottle in the room. Yeah, I'm going to use that from now on. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no. I do not defend this episode. Right. This was the unfortunate thing that I was waiting for, which we now know Jessica Jones is the same episodic kind of pattern as Daredevil.
Right. We
get a huge peak and it builds and builds and builds. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad episode. Please do not take me on that.
Right.
I was just hoping that this would be an ever continuing crescendo kind of peak mountain, if you will, a steep mountain, building and building and building up to episode 12, and then episode 13 is this amazing cacophony of building of episodic pieces of content. We just didn't get that. This was the character development episode.
Yeah.
Same pretty much as, I think it was episode 4 or 5 of Daredevil where we got that. Where we're going to just build out on the characters, backstory, a bit more information here, a bit more information here, sprinkle it, and we'll just end on a nice cliffhanger kind of discovery for you to keep you interested. I'm not saying I didn't like it. It just didn't do it for me. So I'm going to not defend this one.
Okay. And John, what's your feelings about this episode? Do you defend it?
I do defend this episode of Jessica Jones. I have to say, coming into this episode of the podcast. I may have been more aligned with Chris on this, and certainly maybe if you listen back to my opening statements, it's definitely a slower piece, and I still think that. But actually, discussing this through with you guys, I actually liked the episode more and more. Again, it was, as we delved into it, I think it explored more than I had originally thought of. And I think that is certainly goes with my score this time. I originally was going to say 3.5, but instead I am going to go with another solid 4 Ice Cold Hogarths out of 5. I think for me, her development was amazing in this. It really, again, another good reveal of her character. I loved the whole X-File element of it, trust no one. I loved this everyone is a suspect that played in, and that really got me thinking that throughout this episode as well. And to have that then red herring take you down a completely different track with Audrey and Andre Eastman, I thought was really, really good.
Yeah.
I liked some of the stuff that we just teased out there with regards to Will Simpson, and maybe with his, the G.I. Joe dolls. That's kind of an interesting thought. I think a lot of this stuff has set up later on, so we will either be proved right or wrong. Definitely. And I think it is a slower episode. It doesn't necessarily grab you immediately. But again, it's still another good, solid episode. And I think in that sense, I do defend it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to say, it's not that I don't think this was a solid episode. I think it was just more character-driven rather than plot-driven.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I get your point. Definitely, it was an episode that is slower.
Yeah.
And, seeing someone going around checking to see where photographs were taken from, that is, for some people, maybe a difficult hour to watch. It might make people switch off. I think as well, I forgot to say, the reveal of Malcolm. Now, whether that is actually real or imagined, a red herring in itself, it will be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Quite how involved he is. That's the big bombshell from this episode.
Yeah.
And that was really good as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Derek, so I have to ask, do you defend this episode?
I do defend this episode, actually. Definitely, in fact. What the big difference for me with the Netflix shows and the other shows that we've done, like Agent Carter, which we covered, is that they're all built into a 13-hour arc. We're not watching them that way. We're watching them episode by episode and podcasting directly afterwards. So what that means is it's like walking into the 3-hour Avengers Age of Ultron. It's like coming in at the end of hour 1 and leaving before the start of hour 2. So you've taken an hour of the film and just walking out of the cinema. That's what it feels like, and that's what this episode feels like. We got a big cliffhanger at the end of the last episode, and we have another great moment at the end of this episode, which will lead you on to the next hour of content. So these kind of episodes do feel like, yes, they're character building, but they are built into a structure of the episode before and after forming the whole. So, so overall, this episode didn't have Hope in it, didn't have Luke Cage in it, didn't have any appearance of Kilgrave in it either. So quite different from the previous 3. So I understand that there wasn't as much, excitement or as much, Kilgravery, possibly. But again, it's showing the impact of Kilgrave on the people that he leaves behind. It's showing that really freaky moment of the 8-year-old kid, cursing at her. Really, really weird. Obviously the development of Trish from being a really strong character in the last episode to hiding behind her door, waiting for Jessica to save her this episode. The character of Simpson coming back from essentially not knowing what the hell happened to him last time when he jumped off a building and killed a woman in his head. I think those are great developments and really interesting to watch. Really enjoying this season. I'm really looking forward to episode 5.
Just on that point, about 2 or 3 months ago, Netflix actually released some statistics about that. They actually know when people become addicted to a show, and they actually like to start binging from a point. I wouldn't be surprised if that they did this. They fed into House of Courage writers when they were segmenting the screenplay into the episodic parts. And I know they did it with Daredevil. So I would not be surprised that, okay, they went, right, with Daredevil, we saw this. So 3 episodes in, we need this style, build.
Right.
Episode 4, you can do a bit more character, then build, that kind of style.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's all they know, dude. They've even said it. They've officially said that this is how they'd like to build season 2 and 3 of House of Cards.
Right.
This is what they do. When they do their original content, they take the look of how people of certain other shows, like we've all watched, say, Firefly. Mm-hmm. We know we wanted to binge up to a certain point.
Yeah.
So they'll build the character development that way now that they're writing it.
It's interesting you say that, because I always thought that's why I liked The Wire so much. It was that there were episodes that not so much happened in them, but they had a momentum,
yes.
and they built, and then they built again, and then they built again, and then there was a payoff, and then it was layered as well, so there was a build even underneath that. It was multiple builds, and that was one of the things that I always adored about The Wire, because, I mean, they've said it many times. It's this idea of a book.
Yeah.
You read a chapter and there can be something in there that is hugely important and building to other things and take you off on a different direction. But then there's the payoff in chapter 10 or, in episode 5 and so on. And it's only then maybe with a retrospective that you go, wow, that chapter was amazing for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And that, or building just to the general conclusion and finale.
Yeah.
So I'm totally with you on that you could see that definitely.
And then just to go back, I recently rewatched Daredevil, season 1, and I know I gave some of them a lower score. Looking at its entirety and knowing what the payoff was, where it would be, I would have changed my results.
Right.
It's like you said, we're looking at these as a subset of themselves. Each episode, we're not. This is the 13-hour movie.
Yeah. That I'm making you not watch all of. Sorry.
My God, people feel privileged that you can binge this. I get to watch one more. And then podcast, and then one more, and then podcast.
We have to go and lock ourselves up now in the closet until the next episode 5 of Jessica Jones. Sorry, Derek.
Well, on that bombshell, I think it's time to go on to this week's feedback. We got a little bit of feedback in from Rebecca Brodeur, just saying there's a little bit of an interesting connection from some of the elements used in the first couple of episodes about Malcolm's search for peanut butter. That apparently there's a comic book which is kind of an alternate universe comic book called Secret Wars Secret Love, which features a discussion between Luke Cage and Jessica Jones about peanut butter. That essentially Jessica Jones is actually a fan of crunchy peanut butter, not the smooth peanut butter that Malcolm finds in her fridge in episode 1. So good little catch there, Rebecca. I don't know whether they intended that crossover, but a good, fun little one. Apparently, Secret War, Secret Love, according to Rebecca, is actually a really enjoyable crossover stories for a lot of characters that we see in the Marvel Max universe.
Yeah, no, that sounds really good. I believe that Squirrel Girl is in there as well somewhere. So, that's a nice little pickup there from Rebecca. Thanks so much, yeah. We also received some feedback from David Wang for the first 2 episodes. He says, "Dear Derek, Chris and John, I really kind of hope Jessica Jones could cross over with Daredevil already. She wouldn't have to go through the convincing Hogarth's attorney firm about Hope's innocence if only she knew about Nelson and Murdoch. Seriously, those guys made their very first case by clearing the name of a woman caught red-handed on a murder scene. That should be right up their alley, especially now that Foggy knew about Matt's secret identity and his powers. He could pull Matt aside and secretly ask if he thinks she's lying, and they would have no problem believing in innocent until proven guilty on a case like this." This is a really good point. Yeah, it'd be really good to see Avocados, Nelson and Murdoch at law being involved in this. And maybe they will. Maybe Hogarth, we've seen her becoming increasingly cold and increasingly calculated, very self-centered, very, high-powered lawyer-esque, if you want, something that Nelson and Murdoch certainly strived not to become. So maybe these are the counterpoint to Jeri Hogarth's increasingly cold approach to Hope. And certainly, as you say, then his powers could at least determine whether she's innocent right from the get-go. That's a really good point.
Definitely.
I'm definitely hoping there's going to be some crossover anyway, and that would be a really nice little bit to cross over. You know, this contrast between different law firms, really good.
I do like the idea of bringing in Jeri Hogarth into the show, and I'm delighted the way they did it. But yeah, I can see the point. I think there's a great idea to bring in that attorney firm. I think in some other shows it would be much more connected like that. That would be kind of the leap off point for Jessica Jones, would be having her connected to Daredevil that closely, I suppose.
David's second point is that he goes, in a way, I've been proven to have been spoiled by the trailers since they depicted Hope being detained as a criminal suspect, and the first episode fooled viewers into believing it ended with Hope going home with her parents. Also, Hope's actress being cast for all 13 episodes should have been a big clue, but then I didn't know who Erin Moriarty was beforehand. It's interesting you say that, because actually as well, I was getting quite confused between Hope, but also Trish. And then actually, I think it was Jeri Hogarth's personal assistant. They've all got blonde hair, and I have to say now, certainly between Hope and Trish, I think there was some similarity there that I just was getting confused with the actors playing them, because, again, I haven't seen Erin Moriarty beforehand in anything, nor the person who plays Trish Walker.
Yeah, in those 2-minute trailers, it's quite difficult to pick up exactly who's who, essentially. I am aware of one other spoiler that's in one of the trailers for an episode we haven't seen yet as well, so kind of disappointed in that. But hey, that's what trailers do sometimes. I think we are definitely the kind of people that will analyse a trailer over and over again. We did an episode about it, obviously, and I think we kept to being relatively spoiler-free overall. Again, luckily we saw the first episode at New York Comic Con.
But certainly, it was a potential spoiler within the trailers, and I think we said ourselves, actually, David, kind of that the first trailer really did sort of provide a lot of information about Kilgrave. I mean, I thought that was definitely more spoilery than the second trailer for sure. David also kind of goes on to say that, you know, when Jessica was tracking down the kidney doctor, I think it's Dr. Carrada, I half expected him to kill himself or attack her before she could get the info. I kind of agree with you. As soon as it started going down into the basement of the college or the university, I did expect him to kind of start attacking her in some way. And then when he didn't, I did kind of think, oh, well, okay then. So yeah, definitely was expecting him necessarily to do something negative towards her rather than be quite open with the information. But it was a nice change. As well, David, also, in relation to what if Nelson and Murdoch took Hope's case, he is wondering if we're even going to get a Daredevil reference, saying that Luke and Jessica didn't mention him during their snack date in the beginning of episode 3. That's true. I still think that potentially there is Matt Murdock in the elevator up against the side of the wall. It could be a ninja. We don't know. There was the discussion from the trailer that Derek and I had about that. So it'd be interesting to see if we do get Daredevil, will he have the red costume? Will he have the black costume? You know, where are we in that timeline? But certainly I would hope we see Nelson and Murdoch for sure.
Yeah, I do understand the point though, David. It's interesting that during this time there's probably been a newspaper story about the Devil of Hell's Kitchen, as he was called in Daredevil, but we're not sure exactly of the timeline. It is possible that this show takes place very similar timeline to Daredevil, so that hasn't actually happened. Perhaps they haven't seen the papers saying about the Devil of Hell Kitchen just yet. But you never know. There might be an appearance of him in the future.
Yeah, and then David's final point, his fifth point, like the structure of our podcast,
exactly.
He does say that I'm very unfamiliar with Trish's character. To be honest, as was I, David, definitely. And I was pretty freaked out, he goes on to say, when blood dripped from her nose in the glass. I thought that Kilgrave had gotten to her, made her poison herself and go, pay no attention to any negative changes to her health. It's interesting you say that because we didn't really pull that out in episode 3 at all. But I do have it in my notes from that episode, wondering what on earth was going on there. So that's a good catch. And I'm glad you brought that up because it allows us to sort of mention it here now. But certainly I was wondering, what's that about? Is that because she was training too hard? Is it that she's got some medical condition that she's not telling anyone about for the time being? Or is it something else?
Yeah, I remember when I saw the scene, I thought, hey, hold on a second, maybe it's because she's famous and she's taking lots of coke and that's why her nose is bleeding or something like that. But yeah, I think it was to do with the training, the fight scene that she's having, or the fight sequence, I suppose, that she's going through with her trainer in the room. So I remember seeing it and going, oh, Kilgrave's got to her, and then realising pretty quickly it's just a reference to the fact that she's been punched in the face, possibly during that training session. So, but thanks very much so much for that, David. Really good to hear from you again.
He says, keep up the great work. So thank you, David. We'll certainly try and keep on listening. It's great to get your feedback, as always.
If you want to send us in your feedback, you can email it to feedback@defenderstvpodcast.com. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes if you're an Apple user at defenderstvpodcast.com/iTunes, or you can subscribe to us on any good Android podcast catcher that you have. The ones we know of are Beyond Pod, Podcast Addicts, Stitcher. There's tons more out there, but let us know if you can't find us. But all you need to do is search for Defenders TV Podcast.
Yeah, you can also follow us on our Facebook group or page. Just search Defenders TV Podcast and join in the conversation on each of the episodes there. Or you can follow us on Twitter at DefendersCast and interact with us there. We'll be obviously posting through all these different platforms. But again, thank you so much for listening. It's been a blast, and we can't wait for episode 5. Thanks. Thank you so much.
No, cheers, guys. And don't remember, John was right or Chris was right to solve this mystery. And then find me any Easter eggs that you've spotted that I've missed, or any thoughts on who the guy in the meteor was, or emerging from the sea, or Mr. Red-Eyed Asian Man. Please let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next Tuesday, as our episodes are being released every Tuesday from now on. Thanks.
Cheers and defend.
Bye.
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 Great stuff, guys. This has been a Flickering Myth Podcast Network production. For more information, head over to flickeringmyth.com for more shows like it. Find this show in iTunes by searching for the podcast name, and head over to youtube.com/Flickering Myth to subscribe to the Flickering Myth movie show. We'll see you on the next podcast. Take care. Bye bye.